Wait, say that
I
again?
have movie tea.
Hi, my name is Bri,
Hi, my name is Catie.
and this is Mellow Movie Reviews, where we mellowly review movies.
Yes, we do.
And Katie has some movie tea.
Okay, I literally just saw this right before we started. Apparently, in Little Women, there's like two water bottles left in the background of a scene that Timothy Chalamet is in. That's the tea.
I
Not really tea.
I
That's the tea.
I saw that yesterday, and I was like, "Excuse me," and I chose to put it out of my mind. I was like, "Absolutely not. This did not happen," and I just chucked it. I chucked it in the back of my mind because I didn't want it. I never wanted that to happen, but it did. And
I think that's
yeah,
hilarious.
I just am.
That
I
was
can't
the theme
believe.
of 2019, huh? Was beverage containers getting left in shots.
A theme of 2019?
Yeah, because I mean, didn't that happen all over Game of Thrones too? They left like water bottles and coffee cups in like every shot last season.
Oh, yes, there was a Starbucks cup.
I think there was more than that.
There was a Starbucks cup and a Poland Springs bottle, I remember.
Hashtag marketing.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, it wasn't, because it obviously was like a crumbled up Poland Spring bottle, and then like the coffee cup probably had stains and like fingerprints all over it, so it was obviously, I don't know. Ugh.
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 Ugh. Anyway, I don't really have any movie tea because I just want to like spill tea on James Cameron for a few minutes.
Oh my god, go.
Before we
I forgot
start.
James Cameron was the director of this, and suddenly so many things make sense.
Yeah. I guess James Cameron is technically problematic right now.
I know nothing about anything other than that he directed Titanic and is really into marine biology in like almost a creepy way.
So I know he said something weird about the Avengers surpassing Avatar and Titanic or something recently. I don't know. But the thing is, Titanic is like one of my favorite movies. Like I love that movie. And while watching this, I was so turned off by James Cameron as a director, and then I was even more turned off. Oh, by the way, we watched James Cameron's Avatar this
Oh
week.
yeah, that's why we're talking about James Cameron.
And I was also so put off by this movie because now they're making like 5 more.
Can I just pause you because I just found the most ridiculous thing. I was looking up the comment that he made on Twitter, and he didn't actually write a comment. He posted a picture of Iron Man, and you know those like dust cloud thingies that are like spiritual in the Avatar movie, they're all landing on him, and it says, "I see you, Marvel," but in the language from Avatar.
Yeah, I don't know.
Can you
Okay.
believe?
I don't believe. Anyway,
Oh,
so there
yeah.
are 5 or 6 more movies of this film coming, and after watching this, I don't know. I watched this movie when I was 15. Yeah, 15 when it came out. I thought it was amazing. This movie stayed in the theaters for so long, and then like watching it this weekend on my like laptop screen, like I like watching movies on my laptop screen if I'm taking like notes. I just like that.
Mm.
And I was just like, how can you spin 5 other movies from this?
It's yeah.
Like, and I see that Sam Worthington is like back.
When did this movie come out? Wait, they are for sure making 5 more movies.
I'm 5,000% sure.
I
Just type it.
This movie
What?
came out 11 years ago, and they
Yeah.
have not made a sequel yet.
Yeah, so the first sequel is set to come out in 2021, I believe.
Okay. No. Cheddar. No.
So right now there's an Avatar. Okay, so Avatar 2 is coming out on December 17th, 2021. Avatar 3 is coming out December 22nd, 2023. Avatar 4 is coming out December 19th, 2025. Avatar 5 is coming out December 17th, 2027, according to a 2019 article in IndieWire. I feel like this could have been like a standalone experiment for James Cameron.
That is what it should have been.
So I don't know why, like 11 years later, we are what, no, there's nothing compelling about this movie. Sorry. I'm just so confused how my 15-year-old self could have walked out of this movie and been like, I thought this movie deserved Best Picture.
We were 15.
I know, but I'm disappointed in myself.
It's maturity that we now recognize that this movie is trash.
Catie, I want to thank you for suggesting this because full disclosure, I really didn't want to watch this. I hadn't watched this movie since I saw it in theaters. Yeah, so I had the mentality, like, if I watch this not on the big screen, I'm not going to like it as much. And, like, it's true. Like, the visuals weren't as stunning as I remember. But
I also feel like 10 years on, the visuals aren't going to be as amazing anyway.
I mean, but we do for Jurassic Park.
Yeah, well, because Jurassic Park was mostly practical effects.
That's true. I don't know. Do you want to should we just let go?
Let's dive in.
Hi. So, we watched James Cameron's Avatar. I hate that it's called that.
I think it's such an uncreative thing. Like, they couldn't have come up with any better term for the other person walking around out there. They're like, yeah, it's an avatar.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I'm like, what a generic name for a movie.
No, but it's also like, every time I hear the name Avatar, I'm like, cool, that's what you pick when you go on, like, Tumblr to put as your picture.
Yeah, I was thinking about, like, social media stuff, and I just downloaded Animal Crossing and, like,
oh my god, Brianna, I also have Animal Crossing. We have to share codes so we can go to each other's villages.
Yeah, so I just downloaded Animal Crossing, and I had so much fun making my little avatar.
Me too! I have a little dress, and one of the villagers gave me, like, a little sun hat.
It's, like, cute.
Yeah!
Yeah, so literally, goodbye, this title. So this was directed by James Cameron and written by James Cameron.
Oh boy.
And produced by James Cameron.
Starring James Cameron, scored by James Cameron and Celine Dion.
I would have loved if Celine Dion made an appearance in this.
Yeah, she did not. Who did do the music for this? Because it was a lot.
James Horner.
That sounds familiar to me.
He did the same music. He composed Titanic as well.
Okay.
And he sadly passed away in 2015. Yeah, in a plane crash. But I remember being
truly sad.
Sorry?
That's actually, like, truly sad.
Yeah, and like, James Horner. Yes, Horner. I love the Titanic score. He did a fantastic job on that. Really sad that he passed, but yeah. It was released December 18th, 2009. It stars Sam Worthington as Jake Sully, Stephen Lang as Colonel Miles Quaritch, Sigourney Weaver. Hey,
hello.
I forgot Sigourney Weaver was in this.
I love her.
As Dr. Grace Augustine. Michelle Rodriguez as Trudy Chacun. Giovanni Ribisi as Parker Selfridge. Joel David Monroe as Dr. Norm Spellman. And Dilip Braille as Dr. Max Patel.
Let's begin our roast of this movie.
Okay. Catie, did you like this movie?
Not really.
Yeah. What are your, like, overall thoughts?
I've watched it a few times since the theater. I think it is problematic as fuck, which makes it, like, difficult to enjoy, but like there's some fun parts in there. Everyone loves Sigourney Weaver. It's a difficult movie.
I hate to be this person, but while watching it, I found no joy. I was
You are absolutely allowed to be that
I
person.
was
Don't hate yourself for being that person.
I've never been okay, that movie is 2 hours and 41 minutes long.
It's
I have two
so long.
I have two things I liked about it. Two things. They're very specific. One, I like the hair link with the animals.
Oh yeah.
I like that, okay? Cool, fine. I'll let them have that. Also, I like this in any science fiction, anything. If the background and then you see like other planets in the distance, like whole planets in the sky,
Mm-hmm.
like I like that visual a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
You can keep it. Everything else, goodbye.
Let's see. I enjoyed the use of bioluminescence in the film.
Okay.
I like Zoe Saldana,
Okay.
and everything else they can keep. Especially that almost hour-long fight scene at the end of the movie. The balls on them for dragging that out. It was almost the entire second half of the movie was that fucking fight scene.
I wrote down there are 2 climaxes in this movie.
There's like 14 climaxes in this movie.
It's ridiculous. It's literally, the thing is, I feel like when we saw this in theaters, like it was a pretty freaking big deal. Like everyone was talking about it. Like it was so hyped. And I thought it lived up to the hype. Like I saw a great movie. I saw great visuals, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, yada. Looking back on it, I'm like, there is nothing really memorable about this entire movie. There's nothing. The actors, all the characters are forgettable.
I feel like at the time this came out, though, we were all like really hooked in by the special effects and stuff. Like everyone was like, "Oh, this is crazy. No one's done anything like this before."
I'm like totally, and the visuals, like they do look stunning for something done in 2009. But
Yeah, I mean, they're not bad. I'm not like distracted by how bad they are.
I just like the spectacle. Like they wanted to make it a spectacle film. Like I couldn't find a favorite scene because I felt like every scene was catered towards, okay, people are going to think this is going to be their people are going to think this is going to be their favorite scene, and this is going to be their favorite scene, and this is going to be their favorite scene. And
well, that's like the problem with those kinds of movies is they try to create too many favorite scenes, but then also because they're creating a spectacle, it's almost like they're creating a movie you can only watch once. It's like Shutter Island. You can't watch Shutter Island after you find the twist out because then it's just boring.
it was a lot, and like I couldn't pick out a favorite scene, and that was kind of disheartening for me, that I couldn't pinpoint a scene where I was like, yes, I'm gonna remember that for a while. Where in Godzilla, like that movie is forgettable. King of Monsters came out last year. Not the best plot, but I can clearly pinpoint like my favorite scene in that movie. And that movie was 2 hours long and still very messy. But, you know, like I was just kind of surprised by that. The characters, I can't with Jake Sully. He is so boring and bland. And when he becomes an avatar, he is also boring and bland and annoying and just generic. So he basically saves the day. It's like the white man comes and saves the day for these blue cats. Did you get that feeling at all?
Yeah, no, this movie was white saviory all the way.
What makes this film very distasteful to me is that this is supposed to be like an alien planet, and they're taking themes from like Native Americans.
I feel like they literally just took various tropes from like different ethnic groups all over the world and tried to mush them together in the most offensive way possible.
Thank you, Catie. Thank you.
Like, you watch it and it's like, who sat there and was like, this is gonna be fine?
It's so offensive. It's so offensive. It's like annoying because this is supposed to be like a science fiction movie off planet.
It's Pocahontas, though.
Yeah. So like
It's literally Pocahontas.
I'm kind of confused. Like I was talking to my friend Elizabeth, and I was like, this film was incredibly racist. So you look at something like Star Trek, like when they meet another race of aliens, it's like a fresh idea, if that makes sense, on how aliens could act. And I don't want to like sound distasteful.
No, I'm interested to see where your brain is going with this. I'm just not following you
Okay,
yet.
so like when you are introduced to aliens in any other science fiction show, it is literally based off of sheer imagination. You know?
Fair
Like
enough.
what different races of aliens look like and what their culture is like. It's brand new, and the fact that they adopted, like, they were so blatantly like stealing from other cultures and trying to mimic those cultures with the Navi, it was gross to me. It was just gross.
It is gross.
Looking
I don't know. I think about a show like Doctor Who that basically has to create a new alien race like pretty much every episode. And they seem to be able to do that pretty okayly without like stealing from other cultures, as far as I know. I could be wrong. I've not seen the ones from like the 60s and 70s. But like this, I feel like instead of even taking a second to be like, how could we make this creative? They were just like, hey, we're lazy. Let's Google and just throw some shit together.
right, because they could have been very creative. Like the rocks, also the magnetic rocks or whatever, that's cool.
They never explained that. They never explicitly said that they were magnetic.
Okay, well, I think that's cool.
I agreed. I think that was cool. I didn't understand the waterfall coming off of it because what's it feeding into? Where's that water coming from?
Maybe we'll learn that in the next movie, Catie.
Fuck.
There's 4 or 5 more coming. So, oh, dude.
I hope he does an underwater one. I feel like as James Cameron, he probably will. But like most of the animals were like, hey, let's take a jungle animal and smush it with a weird fish. And now it's a Navi animal. Who decided that the way to make everything animal, or to make every animal alien, was to just add an extra set of limbs? Like those horses with 6 legs were so stupid looking.
Oh,
I also would have loved to be the fly on the wall of the conversation they had with the animator that had to deal with that. Like, hey, you know how much it sucks animating horses? Well, you're going to have to do a bunch of them. Oh, and also they have 6 legs.
well, that kind of goes to the creativity part. Like, I felt like the only creativity that was used was like the animal link hair thing.
Yeah, I mean, every alien animal, like, you could pretty easily equate it to some kind of like, there were rhinos, there was a jaguar, there were like little birds and shit, like those crazy dragon birds that they fly. Like, that was the only thing that I was immediately like, oh yeah, that's something from Earth. But also, like, they just gave them an extra set of wings, so
It wasn't as creative as I thought, and like that doubled down on how like insensitive it was. It just made it like just atrocious to watch.
it's just like lazy filmmaking,
It
to be
is.
honest.
It is.
Like, it's a ripped off story, and it's ripped off cultures, and it's like just it's a rip off.
So like just going from the beginning, we meet the guy, Jake Sully, whose twin brother was killed or died. Killed.
Yeah.
And so since their DNAs match, his brother was signed up for this Avatar program, but now they're using Jake. Anyway, so like Jake and Rock, I'm not gonna go like scene by scene because this is too much, right?
There's no point.
Because I just have like a thing to point out. They are Sigourney Weaver's character is so mean to Jake Sully when he.
I think it's hilarious.
What? Like, this character, like, these characters act so weird. her mood swing in the beginning and then her sudden turnaround was just so awkward.
Yeah, I for sure agree with that. But also, like, I get the motivation behind her being angry at the beginning because, like, she was supposed to get a scientist and they handed her a Marine.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
But also, like, if I was in charge of a multi-billion-dollar project and I was in that situation, I feel like I'd be like, dope, I've got a body to put in this avatar and I don't have to waste it.
Yeah, that's what yeah, see, I'm like, can characters, like, kind of think through why they're getting so angry? Like, I didn't think she needed to get that angry
Also,
at him.
everyone in the lab was a piece of shit to him. Like, fucking Norm was a dick to him, and then that other guy, I don't know.
They were all just like, no, none of the humans really, besides Michelle Rodriguez's character,
yeah,
I liked at all. Maybe that nerdy guy who, like, was against Jake Sully for a few seconds, but then, like, it was fine.
they made that scene so short, and they made it seem so intense that in the next scene they were like, and then Ned, or whatever the fuck his name is, calm down.
Yeah.
And it's like, he wasn't even angry.
That was, like, so whack. I was like, why are you adding this piece into the movie? Like, why? Why is it necessary?
I feel like every single second he could add drama, he did, regardless of whether a scene required it or not.
It was just so much told in such a bland, like, monotone way. Like, the if I could describe the script as a whole, it's monotone. Like, there's no feeling, there's no heart. Every dialogue, every line delivered, every character reaction, everything is just, like, really bad. And why does Zoe Saldana's character have gauges?
Why does Zoe Saldana's character have an accent?
Yes. Yeah, I don't know.
Why do any of the Na'vi have an accent unless it's actually their own?
I don't know. I have no idea. Okay, and, like, I couldn't with Jake Sully's voiceover camcorder things.
I felt like it was just so unnecessary to have all that extra exposition added in. Like, do a montage.
They did do montages, but then he was talking over it with exposition.
And it was, like, very clear what was happening in the montage, too. He'd be like, every day I was getting stronger, and it would, like, show him running.
He got strong way too fast.
He got good at everything way too fast.
And I literally rolled my eyes when he got to ride the huge dragon at the end.
Oh my god.
It was like
Toruk Makto.
What was it called?
Toruk Makto?
Yeah. And I'm like, this dude has been, like, chilling with you guys for not that long, and he gets to ride the best dragon, and he's only been here for, like, a week. You know what I mean? It was just like, ugh. All right, the Colonel, like, this is back to kind of the racist stuff. He calls the Na'vi people during one of his rants, because I think he has, like, 5.
Yep.
He calls them roaches and blue monkey people.
Yep.
These are derogatory terms often used in the African American community, or known in the African American community. I am Black, so that is why I know these terms and I'm aware of how insensitive they are. And the fact that James Cameron put roaches and blue monkey people in the script is just fucking fucked up. It's fucked up. I was so taken out of the movie at that moment. I was like, I don't want to write any notes. It's so obvious that, like, this film is a spectacle to look at, but just the script and how just distasteful it is just appalling to me. And the fact that he used roaches, and, like, there's a ton of other stuff that Na'vi people were called, but just having those derogatory terms to describe the aliens it was really weird.
I don't know how you felt about this, but I thought that the Na'vi were coded as, like, an African tribe, or at least that's the impression that I got.
Mm.
And I feel like that adds a layer to like what you were saying about just like,
And then having the message of like the white man comes and saves the day, even though he has spent like 1 week there, 2 months, I don't know how long. I don't know how long.
so I work with a really largely Latina population with my students, and like I've learned a ton about the different cultures, and like I speak a ton of Spanish now, but I feel like I find myself confronted with this like place as a white person where I have to be like, I'm not part of this community as much as I have like been welcomed into it. I'm not like specifically, it just reminded me of that because like when Jake was like, I am one of the Navi, it's like, but you're not though.
Oh yeah, when he's like, "This land is ours." Like,
Yeah,
mm,
it's like cool, you got to drag in, you did your hunting training and whatever, but like you're still a white dude.
he said at one point, "I am one of you. I have the right to speak."
He said that many times. Definitely towards the end of the film, every single time he confronted the guy who was supposed to be like the Navi Kokuum, he was like, I am one of you. We are one. And it's just like, dude, stop.
Yeah, it was just so. It's like it was bad. It was bad. So this whole movie is offensive. The visuals were cool to see. The movie, like pacing as a whole, like it was really, really crazy. Did you feel that?
Yeah. Like you said, it had so many climaxes because there were so many different plot lines going on at once, but then also all these different plot lines are trying to feed into the main plot line. Like, honestly, if I were to direct this movie knowing that there were going to be 5 other movies, this entire movie would have just been like Jake learning how to be a Navi and like establishing the world on the planet. Like, I wouldn't even fucking get to the humans being assholes until the second movie. I mean, like, obviously they'd still be assholes, but like, that's a plot for a second movie. This movie did not need to be 3 hours long. This movie needed to be 90 minutes tops.
You know, Catie, I totally agree with you. This movie could have been 2 movies.
It could have been 2 movies.
It could have been really, really cool if the movie started out like it did, and then when Jake got separated from whoever.
Yeah, that should have been its own movie.
Yeah.
Like, he should have been on his own with the Navi, and like maybe he meets back up with Grace or them later.
Yeah, or maybe we don't even know that he's human. Just cut everything out. Make it like a mystery box film, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, this totally was meant to be a one-off.
It was meant to be a one-off, but then they made a shit ton of money off of it. So they're like, okay, let's make this a 6-off.
But it's confusing why they're doing it like so many years later. Like, wouldn't you want to make a movie maybe like 4 or 5 years after this movie came out? Because I doubt people are gonna. This movie is not memorable. Like, wouldn't it be better to start the franchise like right after your first movie was made? I guess it takes a really. I'm being naive. Like, I guess it takes a very long time.
No, I mean, like, to be fair to it, I feel like franchising a movie is such a big thing these days, whereas when this came out, that, like, basically was not a thing. I feel like Harry Potter and Marvel were the only people doing that back then. Nowadays, if that movie was made and they knew they were going to have 5 sequels, they would franchise the fuck out of that. But also, you're totally right. Like, 5 years later, why weren't they like, hey, Marvel's starting to do this crazy stuff, so's DC, so's Disney. Maybe we could jump in here.
Like, I know that there's a Pandora theme park exhibit.
Where?
At Disney.
World or land?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I know that that's a thing, and I feel like that's the only one-off I've seen from this franchise. It's like one big thing that's come out, and like I don't hear much about that at all. Like, it's the first time you're hearing about it.
Yep.
So obviously it's not that big. I have like one more thing to say kind of about like pacing and stuff. And how this movie is like awful with pacing. Cause you know, Catie, I love my timestamps.
Yep.
Okay, so this movie starts out really, 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 really slow. And Catie, it's like an hour and 10 minutes. And then we meet the Navi.
Why does it take us an hour? Also, that whole speech while he was up in the spaceship, at the very beginning, they covered the fact that his brother was dead like 15 times between then and when we actually needed to know why he was there.
Yeah.
They should have just done the speech or just fucking cut that scene. We don't need to know that.
The beginning is like very, very slow and a lot could be cut out and it is extremely redundant. But you're kind of like, okay, we get it. Like, let's start the movie, you know? The anticipation. I feel like they did that for the anticipation. My favorite part when I saw the movie when it first came out was when Jake Sully gets to try out his avatar. I remember loving that part because I was like, oh my gosh, this movie is finally starting, you know?
Yeah, I feel like also there's like low key some ableism there because he's in a wheelchair and the entire time they're like, "Hey, we're gonna fix your legs." That just felt a little problematic to me.
Yeah, it was. And then there are 2 climaxes. And Catie, the last scene goes for an hour. It didn't need to be an hour. You were correct. You were right.
So long.
It just felt like that there were 2 different endings.
There were so many turns. Like they came out, all the Na'vi, and everyone was super strong, and then the military started to overpower them, but then Awa heard them and sent all the birds and the dragons, and then it just kept going, and then there was that fucking bit with them where like the colonel tries to kill him while he's still in the little chamber pod. And it's like, just fucking end it. Like, we know what's gonna happen. We know Colonel dies. We know Jake lives. Like, let's just get there.
There was like there was a lot of unnecessary suspenseful moments. Like, I couldn't with the slow-mo.
What did you say earlier when you were like talking about how it took so long for the movie to get started? Like, come on, let's go. I felt like I was saying that a lot during this movie. Like, come on, let's go.
So there are a lot of like slow-mo shots that were meant to be sad, and I was just not sad. Did you see those shots?
Yeah,
The slow-mo? It happened like 3 times. I'm like, you can only have slow-mo like once in a movie like this.
That's true.
You can't have like every emotional scene be a slow-mo. It just made it seem like a lot more fake. It made it seem like CSI on TV.
Oh, you know what really pulled me out of this movie? So you know how when we were talking about Godzilla, we talked about how like they did a really good job of making you feel small compared to the monsters?
Mm-hmm.
This movie did not do that. This movie did the opposite of that. I feel like they couldn't decide on a scale of like Na'vi and like Pandora sized things to like human sized things. So like every single time, like when they do that first shot and you see the mining thing and it's fucking massive and there's these giant like it's too many big things for my mind to process how big it is. And then like the Na'vi are supposed to be like 9 feet tall or something like that, but there's that scene where they like jump onto the plane and the guy just starts like throwing the humans out of the back of the plane. He does not look that big. He looks stupid scale wise compared to the people.
Yeah, I the inconsistency with the scaling. That's a good point to make as well.
Because like with Godzilla, I was like, wow, like damn. I feel like I'm tiny compared to this. With this, I was like, this is really cool effects wise, but also like, what are the ratios here?
That's smart. I think another thing I want to mention is Sam. I liked that, not Sam, Jake Sully. I liked that when he was in his avatar, he had to be asleep in his little pod.
Mm-hmm.
And when he was awake in his little pod, his avatar liked to be asleep. I like that conflict, and I like how that was brought up multiple times, but after a while, it was just, like, way too easy for him to go back and forth.
Word, I feel like they should bring that up and have it happen, like, once or twice. Like, the only time I thought that was used well was, like, the first time when Jake and Grace got pulled out after they were, like, trying to confront the Na'vi. Mm-hmm. But, like, every single time after that, I was like, this is fucking stupid. And honestly, most of the times before that, I was like, this is stupid.
I think that's cool. That time was cool. And I also thought when after Jake Sully and Zoe Saldana's character mate or whatever, Like how
I-
the bulldozers are coming and he's like sleeping.
Yeah. They tried to build the suspense so much in that scene between like her dragging in the bulldozers and then flashing to Jake like joking around and having breakfast, but like you knew he was gonna wake up in time. We know that's gonna happen.
That's true. That's true. You're right. Now it's dumb. Now I'm like, that was kind of stupid. Because they were like teasing it out.
I did enjoy the effects of this movie though. I do have to give it that.
Yeah, the effects were good.
I did message Shaylee because I was curious how much of this movie was motion captured and how much was animated. Because like a lot of the scenes had animals and like backgrounds that must have been CGI. And if the people are also motion capture, like why not just fucking animate the movie?
Right.
I feel like this could have been a really good animated movie. I feel like part of the fault of all of the sort of logistical things is the fact that it's a like IRL human movie.
I don't know. I just wish this movie, I don't want to say never existed. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't get it. Like
I can't even imagine what a 2021 version of this movie is gonna look like.
Like, obviously I'm gonna go see it. But
oh, yeah.
What the hell? Like, what? I'm not looking forward to anything. There's nothing that I'm like, ooh, what are they gonna do next? Because I don't have any lingering questions. Like, I don't have.
It's been so long since this movie has come out that no one gives a shit about it anymore. Like, you missed your window.
Yeah, that's why it's just, like, annoying, and it just shows what people with money can do.
Yep. Didn't he, like, charter his own submarine to go see the Titanic?
Maybe, I don't know.
I feel like I heard something like that. Rich people are crazy.
It's funny, he made my, like, favorite movie of all time, but he also made this.
Is Titanic your favorite movie of all time?
Yeah, like one of them. I love that movie so much.
I guess we did go over this last time.
Yeah, so how are they gonna piss out 4 more movies like this?
They're gonna do the same thing, but like with slightly different Na'vi cultures. So it's like, hey, you remember the Na'vi? Okay.
This movie literally, it fooled me. I was fooled and I was tricked. We were tricked. I was tricked. I think I was blown away. I think I saw it in IMAX. I was blown away. I probably spent like $30. I think I spent like $30 to see this movie, I feel.
I definitely spent at least 30 because I'm pretty sure I saw it in 3D.
Yeah, I definitely spent like $30. I remember that was the thing. It cost more. Do you remember that?
I feel like this was one of those, like, the first, like, HD, 3D, XD kind of movies.
All the Ds.
All the Ds. I can't believe we have not talked about the laziest piece of writing in this entire movie.
Oh, please go ahead.
The fact that the thing that they want is called unobtainium.
Seriously?
Because they can't obtain it.
Seriously?
That's what the fuck they called it. They're so lazy, they literally just called it, we can't get it.
That's like literally disgusting. I hate this movie more and more. Every follicle of my body. Like, Katie, after I watched this movie, I took a 4-hour nap. Katie, I woke up at like 7 a.m. and I'm like, I'm gonna start my day off like positive. I'm gonna get my coffee, I'm gonna get my oatmeal. And I sat down and I was just like so sad. But like, thanks for making, like, this was a good suggestion because I love trash talking it.
It's a stupid movie. It's a bad movie. It deserves everything.
Is there anything else you want to say?
I love Zoe Saldana, and I'm sorry she's a part of this.
I hope this movie does. Okay, you know what? I don't wish badly for this franchise. I just hope that they have a more tasteful take on the franchise, a more futuristic approach. Hopefully they've learned their lesson. It has been however many years. All right, but yeah. So thank you everyone for listening.
Bye.
Bye, Jake Sully.